If there was one thing that I could stress to you that could actually improve your personal development journey, your mindset, and every other aspect of your life, it's this. Failing, as scary as it is, and as daunting as it may seem, is the single best thing that can happen to you. And what I mean by that is, as a man, we are told and taught not to fail and to achieve success and to work our asses off so that we don't fail. And the problem with that is that you're forgetting the true value of what failing really is. A real man should look at failing as a tool, because that's what it is. Failing is the one thing that allows you to actually visualize what you did wrong and how you can do it better. For example, let's say you take a practice test in school and you bomb it, and you do terrible, you get a 50 on it. And you get that test back and you review it and you go over every little thing that you did wrong, every question that you missed, every idea, every subject that you just don't know that well and that you got wrong on that test, and that's what you study and that's what you work on, and you take that real test when the time comes, you're gonna do better. You're gonna do better. There's no doubt about it. Because in that example, you took your failure, your 50, you analyzed it, you figured out what went wrong, what your issue was, what you didn't do good at, and you worked on that. You focused on that, you fixed that, and that led you to getting a better grade. And it's the same with everything in life. When you fail at something, you're given an opportunity to analyze what went wrong. And the real men out there do that. They don't let a failure, become who they are. They don't let making a mistake, screwing up, letting people down, they don't let that be the image of who they are. Instead, they learn from it, they grow from it. And that is the biggest blessing we are given, is the ability as men to fail, to make mistakes, to let people down. Because then you're given a choice on whether or not you're going to take your failure and use it to grow, or you're going to let it define who you are. If you think that all of these successful men out there, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, LeBron James, if you think all of these people didn't fail at some point in their life, if they didn't, have struggles, have to make mistakes, if you think they didn't go through that, then you're an idiot, because I promise you they did. And a great example of this is Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players to ever live. He went from not making his high school basketball team to becoming one of the greatest players to ever live. He failed to make that team. He failed to show he was good enough. And instead of letting that define who he was and moving on and going a different route and giving up on that, he chose to work his ass off. He chose to use that failure to teach him what to work on, what to improve on, how to develop. And he became one of the greatest players to ever live. So if that in itself doesn't tell you that failures are the number one tool we have in our toolbox as men to grow, to lead us on this personal development journey, then you have it wrong. I promise you. A personal example of mine is, and it's so similar to Michael Jordan's, I didn't make my high school soccer team my sophomore year after playing JV my freshman year. I went into that tryout thinking I was going to make it because I made the team the previous year, and I didn't make it. I didn't make a single team. I could have let that define who I was. I could have given up on soccer. I could have, ran track and field, or just, kept working out and letting lifting weights be my passion. But instead, I worked my ass off. I practiced 5 times a week. I had a personal one-on-one coach to help me get better. Any free time I had, I was either working on soccer or thinking about how to get better at soccer. And all of that work and commitment and not giving up led me to making varsity the next year. And not only that, but starting, being a starter on varsity, coming from not making a team at all. So when I say this, it's not because, I read this online and I have this script written down on how to say this, how to convey this. No, it's because it's coming from personal experience. I've failed at things in my life. And there are moments where I didn't, work through the failure and use it to my advantage. But there are moments that I did. And I promise you, every time I actually use my failures as a tool rather than a definition of who I am, I came out to the other side a better person, a more grown person. So when I say this, I'm saying it because I know it. I've lived it. I've been through it. And other people have too, other prime examples. So as a man, you have to understand, when you fail at something, it's not who you are. It doesn't define who you are. It's simply just a tool in your toolbox. Use it. Learn from it. Grow from it. Because I promise you, using it as a tool will develop you into a better man. Every single time. And you won't regret not giving up. You won't regret pushing through it. I promise you, dude. I know this from experience. And yes, I'm not some multimillionaire, but that makes it more valuable for me to say this. Because I've got no vendetta to say this, to express this to you. I'm not making a whole bunch of money by making this video. My only goal is to help other men out there who struggle with the fact that they fail at things and they let that define who they are. Because it doesn't have to. It does not have to define who you are. Only if you let it. If you choose to overcome that and you choose to work through it and you choose to grow from it, you will come out a better man all the time. So believe me when I say this, the number one tool you have as a man in your toolbox to grow and to develop into the person you want to be is making mistakes, failing at things, letting people down. Otherwise, there would be no growth. It's the same as when you're working out. You have to break a muscle down in order for it to rebuild stronger. Think about that. You have to break a muscle down before it'll rebuild stronger. Your life is no different. You can't go from here to here without dipping down. You just can't. You can't. And as nice as it would be to be able to do that, it's not possible. You have to dip down in order to go up. You have to fail, you have to make mistakes, and you've got to choose to learn from them.